In the winter of 1882, as John Taylor stood shackled for murder, his brothers Andy and Bob unleashed a hail of bullets on a sleepy Missouri town, killing Sheriff W.S. Cate and Deputy John Conway in a desperate bid to free him. What follows is a whirlwind manhunt that ends in a bloody standoff, a dramatic confession in Kansas, and a courtroom showdown where Andy Taylor defiantly courts the gallows as if it were his greatest triumph. This is the gripping saga of loyalty turned murderous, of outlaw legend forged in gun smoke, and of a family that refused to bow to the law, even in death.
You know, when you picture the Kansas frontier, say, late 1800s, you probably think, homesteaders, right?
Yeah.
Hackle drives.
Sure, that's the common image, sod busting, maybe a dusty cow town.
But there's this other side to it. Kansas, this new territory, it also sort of became a place people ran to escape something.
The expansion meant you could theoretically just disappear, shed your past.
Or worse, exactly.
Yeah.
And not always about opportunity. Sometimes it was just flight.
Running from consequences, yeah.
And that whole idea, it sets the stage perfectly. We've got this story, starts with a murder, way over in Tennessee.
But it doesn't stay in Tennessee.
Not at all. It ends up pulling Newton, Sedgwick City, Harvey County, right here in Kansas, smack into the middle of it.
Which is just fascinating. And this connection, it was pieced together by Darren McManus using mostly old newspaper articles.
Right, those period sources.
Yeah.
Give you such a raw feel for how things were reported, how people reacted back then.
Absolutely. The shock, the details they thought were important, sometimes even the biases. They're gold mines, really.
Couldn't agree more. So our mission, if you will, is to follow this twisting path from Tennessee to Kansas. It's quite a look at how interconnected things were, even without phones or internet. Okay, let's unpack this.
All right. So we start in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's February 1881. We've got John Taylor. He's a steamboat engineer.
Right.
And there's Captain James Fletcher, a boat builder. Reports say Fletcher was doing some work on Taylor's boat, the Tellico.
Okay.
And they get into an argument. Taylor, described as having a quick temper.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He pulls a pistol. Fletcher, who's older, apparently says something like, only cowards carry pistols.
Oof, that probably didn't help.
Not at all. Taylor fires 3 times. Fletcher dies right there.
Just like that. An impulsive act.
Exactly. And that single act kicks off this whole sprawling story.
So Taylor runs.
Immediately. Heads for the mountains. They look for him, but he disappears for, a couple of months?
Something like that. Before he's finally caught over in Roane County.
Right. And eventually he's tried, convicted not of murder, though, but manslaughter. Gets 10 years.
10 years. But the story doesn't end there, does it? Because this Taylor guy, he sounds like trouble.
He really does. The papers paint him as, dangerous. He'd apparently tried to escape before, even had rumors of other killings, maybe down in Texas.
So, not so unlikely to just serve his time quietly.
Not likely at all. Which brings us to September 1882. Sweetwater, Tennessee. The papers called it a frightful tragedy.
Okay, set the scene.
You've got Sheriff W.S. Cate and his deputy, John Conway. They're moving prisoners.
By train.
By train, yeah. Heading to Knoxville for a Supreme Court hearing, and guess who's one of the prisoners all chained up?
John Taylor.
Bingo. Along with a couple of others, a Sam Carter and an unnamed black man.
Seems routine enough, I guess. High stakes, but routine.
Until the train stops in Sweetwater, then all hell breaks loose. 3 men get on the train.
Don't tell me.
Yep. John Taylor's brothers.
Oh, wow. How did they even manage that?
Well, 1 came from the rear of the car, 2 from the front, and they moved fast. One of them, Andy Taylor, walks right up behind Deputy Conway, shoots him point blank in the head.
Jeez. Just like that, no hesitation.
None. Andy grabs Conway's keys, unlocks his brother John. John immediately snatches the dead deputy's pistol.
What about the sheriff?
He sees what's happening, rushes in, even gets a shot off himself, but he's met with fire from both John and the other brother, Bob Taylor.
They kill him too.
They do. Sheriff Cate is killed. In the chaos, John Taylor gets a slight wound in the arm, and the other prisoner, Carter, gets shot in the leg.
This is unbelievable. Like something out of a movie.
It really is. Then they force the engineer, gunpoint, obviously, to drive the train past stops about 20 miles down the line to Lenoir Station.
And then?
Steal horses, head for the mountains in North Carolina. Carter, the wounded prisoner, and the other man, they surrender later in Knoxville.
Wow. The sheer audacity. Taking over a train.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it? Utter desperation, nothing left to lose kind of attitude.
You can imagine the reaction. Pure outrage, right?
Oh, absolutely. The news accounts talk about posses forming immediately. 30 guys with rifles on a special train. Eventually, maybe 500 men from East Tennessee are out looking.
And a big reward, I bet.
Huge. The governor was expected to offer, initially they said $10,000, but later reports suggest maybe even $15,000. Serious money back then.
Immense pressure to catch them.
Relentless pursuit. And this is where things start moving west, closer to, well, to Kansas.
Okay. What further?
Robert Taylor, he makes it all the way to Lebanon, Missouri.
Missouri. That's quite a distance. How'd they find him?
Turns out the local sheriff there, R.P. Goodall, he'd been reading about the Tennessee incident, had even been talking to folks back there.
Really? So the news traveled?
It did. And based on descriptions, Goodall suspected this Robert Taylor might be someone he'd seen around. He put the word out.
Smart move. Local knowledge, connecting the dots.
Exactly. And eventually, word comes back that Robert Taylor is in the area.
So a confrontation.
On a train again, actually. Sheriff Goodall and his deputy, John Estes, they find Robert, tell him to surrender.
And Robert does. Doesn't sound likely.
No. He tries to shoot Sheriff Goodall, but Deputy Estes jumps in, uses a club, knocks the gun away.
Wow.
There's a struggle. Goodall shoots Robert. Estes also hits him with the club. Robert Taylor dies right there on the train.
A violent end. Far from Tennessee.
Very. And there's a little mystery, too. Someone who was with Robert apparently slipped away during the fight, even took one of Robert's guns.
Huh. Another loose end. Okay, so that's Robert. What about brother number 3, Andy?
Andy makes it to Kansas. Lyon County, specifically.
This is where Kansas gets pulled in directly.
This is it. He's working on a farm near Plymouth for a guy named T.N. Dixon, using a fake name, John Presnell.
How long was he there before things went sideways?
About 6 weeks, it seems. Hiding in plain sight, almost. Trying to blend into that Kansas frontier life we talked about.
It must have seemed like a good place to disappear. Lots of space, people coming and going.
You'd think so. But it seems Andy couldn't quite handle the pressure. Or maybe just the booze.
Ah. Alcohol often loosens tongues.
It sure did here. He goes into Emporia with Dixon, his boss, and drinks heavily. On the way back, he acts strangely, won't ride in the wagon, says he'll take the train, keeps drinking on the train, causes a bit of a scene. Then back in Plymouth, he starts firing his revolver randomly, not exactly keeping a low profile.
No kidding. That's going to get noticed.
Right. So Dixon gets back to his farm, finds Andy, well, still drunk, and Andy had apparently shot his own hat.
Shot his hat. Is like a suicide attempt.
That's what it sounds like. Maybe a drunken, dramatic gesture, but it's the breaking point. He calls for Mrs. Dixon.
And confesses.
Spills everything. His real name, the Sweetwater murders, everything. Says he's full of remorse, blames his brothers for talking him into it.
Wow. And what does he want?
He asks Dixon to arrange his arrest, basically. And get this, he wants Dixon to make sure the reward money gets used, partly for his mother back in Tennessee.
That's quite a request.
Yeah.
What did Dixon do?
Well, he repeated the confession to Mr. Dixon, too, even asked for Dixon's gun to, finish the job himself, then asked Dixon to be the one to arrest him. Dixon was, understandably, pretty skeptical at first.
I would be, too. Sounds unbelievable.
But he sends a telegram to the governor of Tennessee, just to check.
Good call.
And the next morning, Andy, sober now, confirms it all again. Talks about the guilt, hiding out on Lookout Mountain for weeks, eating raw meat.
Grim.
Yeah. How they split up, his journey through all these states, Kentucky, Alabama, Arkansas, Missouri, then meeting up with John again in Missouri.
He found John. What happened then?
It's a sad story. He says John got sick, flux, they called it, dysentery probably, died out in some remote swampy area.
Oh, man.
Andy says he buried John himself, alone. He also heard about Robert being killed in Missouri around that time.
So the escape wasn't exactly working out well for any of them. Hardship, death.
Definitely not. Just trying to survive, constantly looking over your shoulder. It highlights the reality of being a fugitive back then.
So Andy tells Dixon all this. What then? Does Dixon arrest him?
Well, Andy actually offers to just leave, if Dixon will pay his wages. But by then, Dixon gets a telegram back from Tennessee, confirming the story.
The governor confirmed it.
Yep. So Dixon gets sworn in as a special deputy. He and the local deputy sheriff, Kramer, they set out to officially bring Andy in.
How do they track him if he offered to leave?
More telegrams. They wired ahead to railroad agents, tracking his movements as he hopped freight trains heading west.
Smart. Resourceful.
And it leads them right to Newton, Kansas, Harvey County. They find out Andy's already been picked up there by the city marshal, a guy named Sawyer.
So Cotton Newton, Kansas law enforcement now fully involved.
Exactly. But there was a bit of a snag, apparently.
Oh.
Seems the Kansas officers, Marshal Sawyer maybe, were a bit reluctant to just hand Andy over. They wanted to make sure the reward money situation was sorted out first.
The money again. Jurisdictional squabbles over the reward.
Looks like it. It was a big sum, and the local guides wanted their cut for the capture on their turf.
Makes sense, I suppose. But they worked it out.
Eventually, yeah. Dixon and Kramer bring Andy back to Emporia, hold him in the jail there, waiting for the trip back to Tennessee.
So the whole chase, spanning multiple states, ends with an arrest in Newton, Kansas, and detention in Emporia. That Kansas connection is undeniable.
Absolutely. A Tennessee crime ripples all the way out here. Shows you the reach, even then.
Okay, so Andy's caught. What about the journey back to face trial?
That was quite the production. A whole group of officers involved sheriffs from Tennessee, Sheriff Ryan from Lyon County, Kansas, and of course T.N. Dixon, the farmer turned special deputy.
Safety concerns, mob violence worries.
Definitely. The Tennessee governor ordered him held temporarily in Nashville just to be safe, though the Chattanooga sheriff apparently said things were calm there, no lynch mob brewing.
Andy. How's he holding up?
Reports say he was actually pretty, cheerful, upbeat even. He kept telling his version of Sweetwater, saying he only shot Sheriff Cate after Cate shot John. Used Conway's pistol.
Still trying to control the narrative. Did he stick to the story about John dying in Kansas?
For a while. But later, maybe losing faith in one of the sheriffs, Springfield, he told another sheriff, Moore, exactly where John was buried, back in Missouri.
So the truth comes out. Did he ask for anything else?
Yeah, he asked Moore to recover John's body, handle the reward money, and make sure $1,000 got to his mother. Seems he didn't trust Springfield with the cash.
Interesting. So getting him to Knoxville for the actual trial must have been tricky, too.
Very. Train lines were messed up, derailments. They had to use a construction train part of the way, then switch to wagons.
Wow. Rough travel.
And there was this weird side story about his niece back in Roane County being armed, ready to defend him if they brought him through Chattanooga, which they ended up bypassing anyway.
Family loyalty, I guess, even then. So the trial in Loudon, difficult.
Extremely. Mostly jury selection. Took ages. They went through hundreds of potential jurors trying to find 12 who weren't already convinced he was guilty.
High-profile case, makes sense. How was Andy during this? Still cheerful?
Apparently so. Nonchalant. At one point, he asked for a razor. They refused, thought he might try to kill himself. But mostly, he seemed unconcerned.
So they finally get a jury. What's the verdict?
Guilty. Murder in the first degree. No mitigating circumstances found. The paper said if it had been anything less, there might have been mob trouble.
So the sentence.
Hanging. He appealed to the Supreme Court, but they upheld the sentence. Execution date set for November 23rd in Loudon. Planned as a private affair in the jail yard.
And his final days. Did his attitude change?
Not really. Still defiant. Played cards. Joked around. Refused to see ministers. Famous quote attributed to him was, "There is no damnation hereafter."
Wow. Doubling down.
Yeah. And still trying to sell his confession story for $150 for his mother.
Right up to the end. Any last-minute drama?
Oh, yeah. On the final train ride from Knoxville to Loudon for the execution, he somehow got hold of a pistol.
No.
Yes. Tried to shoot Sheriff Foote, but he thought it was a self-cocker. It wasn't. Didn't fire. He tried to cock it manually to attack again, but got overpowered quickly.
Incredible. One last act of violence.
Seems so. On execution day, still indifferent, ate well. Walked firmly to the gallows.
Any last words?
Refused! Said he didn't have a GDDN word for the crowd. His very last utterance was apparently a curse aimed at the Hamilton County Sheriff.
Lenny.
Hanged at 3:15 p.m. Died by strangulation, the reports say.
A grim end to a grim story. Is that it?
Almost. There's one little epilogue about the reward money. Remember Marshal Sawyer from Newton, Kansas?
The one who arrested Andy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently he had to chase after T.N. Dixon for his share of the reward. Seems Dixon got the initial payment and wasn't too keen on splitting it.
Ha. Even after death, the money causes trouble. What a saga. What an absolutely incredible and sprawling story, moving from a heated argument in Tennessee all the way to a Kansas farm and back again, culminating in a final act of defiance. It truly underscores those unexpected and sometimes unsettling connections that existed across the American landscape, even in the 19th century. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Indeed. What's fascinating here is how this series of events reveals the complexities of crime and justice in the frontier era. It wasn't a world easily divided by state lines when it came to the reach of the law or the consequences of one's actions.
Right.
The flow of information, even through, basic newspapers, it played a huge role, connecting events, letting lawmen track these guys across hundreds of miles.
And it brings in the human side, too, the desperation, the violence, the capture, how they face the end. So, as you've listened to this incredible journey, what does this all mean for your understanding of the history of the American West and the reach of the law in that era?
Well, this raises an important question for you to consider. How did the very real limitations of communication and transportation in the 19th century simultaneously offer opportunities for escape and yet still allow for a surprising degree of interconnectedness in the pursuit of justice?
Good question.
Think about how that contrasts with today, instant info, easy extradition. This raises an important question about how the landscape of crime and accountability has both changed dramatically and, maybe in some fundamental ways, perhaps remained the same.
The moral of the story today, remember the encouragement that God gave us in Proverbs 11:3. The integrity of the upright will guide them, but the perversity of the unfaithful will destroy them.